about Indianapolis's high foreclosure rate. Don't everyone jump up at one time. Joanne?
Several of us attended the National League of Cities here recently, and one of the issues is predatory lending as it impacts communities, not just in Indianapolis, but throughout the county, or throughout the country. We in Indianapolis have seen more than some other communities, but again, that's relative to population. The larger your population, the more likely you're going to see greater numbers of people who are essentially sold a bill of goods on home ownership and drawn into loans which they can't afford. What we have done locally, there are several resources available. They include the neighborhood resource, I can't, NHIP, I can't, INHP, I can't remember. Indianapolis Neighborhood Housing Partnership. Thank you very much. I couldn't remember the acronym. They provide training for individuals who are anticipating or seeking services to get information about home ownership, and they literally walk you through an education about mortgages and things of that nature so that you really understand before going to a lender what it is you will be up against. They also hook up people with lenders who are not there to basically exploit the individual and simply get that mortgage sold, but they really want to work with the individual so that they understand the amount of resources they need. If they fall behind, there are programs wherein they can make arrangements with the lender to allow them to work off the debt, either by paying only the interest for a while or whatever the case may be. And they have several success stories, which I don't have time to share with you here today, but they are the kind of neighborhood resource that helps to stave off the impact that predatory lenders have. Now, we have the other issue of out-and-out fraud, which hit the east side, and I believe it hit Mary Moriarty Adams' district very hard. I don't know what you do to really stave that off. We are going to constantly, I think, have issues where individuals are looking to make a killing in terms of cash, and they involve their relatives and friends, and they come in from other states buying up properties and so forth. So that kind of issue is more difficult to deal with, but predatory lending we can attack through a neighborhood resource program.
First of all, since we're talking about predatory lending, I should disclose I'm a banker, so be careful. No, seriously, I think predatory lending is a problem, but I think one thing that we don't really ever hear much talk about is how much money is being made in our community from these new developments that are going up, from the contractors to the land developers to the people selling the land to the people helping the process go through, the title companies, you name it, and the mortgage lenders. I mean, there's a lot of money at stake as each one of these neighborhoods gets approved and goes up and up and up. I mean, Perry Township, we're saturated, and now Franklin Township is starting to really take off. If my numbers are correct, and I've been told numerous times that in Franklin Township there are 25,000 new units going up down Southport Road, basically from 5 Points down to Acton and out a couple miles in each direction. I don't think our population growth census data can justify even those houses alone, and that's one area. What are we doing to ourselves? We're creating bad neighborhoods of the future. When someone buys these new houses, which they will be bought, who's taking possession of the old houses? When people lose their jobs, where are the good jobs to save them and keep them out of foreclosure? We have to save the neighborhoods we already have, and we're not doing it. And I think that we should be ashamed of ourselves as a community for allowing it to go on. We've got to put an end to it. Thank you.
Mr. Jaworski.
Metro area foreclosures climbed 36%. Taxes are factors. Right here in the Indianapolis Star, January 26, 2007. Indianapolis now ranks third according to Realty Track, behind Detroit and Atlanta. We know what happened to Detroit. The bottom fell out of the auto industry. I'm not particularly certain what happened in Atlanta, but what's going on here in Indianapolis? Mr. Ray hit some points, very salient points, referring to, I call them the vinyl villages being thrown up in a lot of the formerly rural areas of Marion County. I personally am an apartment dweller, and nothing against home ownership, it's just not for me at this moment. And those of you who are apartment dwellers, you know what I'm talking about. You probably get in your mailbox or stuck to your door every week, every couple of weeks, another real estate agent trying to convince you that rent is cheap, or excuse me, rent is more expensive than a house payment. Oh, sure, for the first year or two, then the taxes kick in. Then it's hang on to your wallet. I don't have any hard data with me. I wish one of my running mates, Kent Smith, was with me. He is a mortgage broker. He works in the subprime lending industry. But from what I've been told, and this is strictly anecdotal evidence, is that the foreclosures typically happen after the first 2 to 3 years of a new construction, which is when the taxes kick in. Thank you.
Karen, and then the right.
Honesty is what this is all about. People are being given loans that they cannot afford. You go into a new housing development and it's so much right now because you know what? You are paying taxes on a cornfield lot. You ask them, what are going to be my taxes when I'm actually paying on my house? And they will reply to you, and I have had this experience, I don't know. Yes, they can find out. You can't tell exactly how much that tax is, but if you go to your assessor's office, they can give you a good rough estimate of what it's going to be, and it's going to be within a good ballpark. These people also, when they're buying a new house, what do you need to do next? You go out to a furniture store. No payment for 2 years. There again, you're still paying on that cornfield lot that your house is on. You buy a car because actually you need to get transportation, go places, go to the grocery store, to schools. Your car, within a couple of years, starts needing repairs. These are young couples. In 2 or 3 years, what are they having? Children. We all know that children are very expensive. They have put 0 down on these homes because that's what they have gotten them in for. Do you know what? They're not out any money because they would have had to pay rent anyway. And like Mike pointed out, rent is more expensive than the home ownership. So they leave these houses, they go back into renting, gain less. Okay.
I think this is something a lot of people feel very passionately about. We are the final question of the morning. This is going to be practice for if you are elected to serve on the city, county, a public referendum on fire department consolidation. I'm going to start at the bottom of the list this time. Like I said, this is your opportunity. You vote yes, no, or abstain. Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Ms. Mansfield?
No.
Mr. Kendall? I take it he's left. He's not in the room, he doesn't get to push the button. Ms. Scales?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
No.
Ms. Shattuck McHenry?
Yes.
Mr. Oliver, I know, had to leave. Mr. Jackson?
No.
Ms. Moriarty Adams?
No.
Mr. Longworth?
Yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Katz?
No.
Mr. Terrell? Oh, Terrell.
Not what it said.
Pardon?
No, not what you said.
Mr. Ray?
No.
Ms. Highland?
Yes.
Mr. Conley? I believe he left. Mr. Boyd?
No.
Ms. Sanders?
No.
Everybody have an opportunity to cast a vote. That is going, pardon, oh, I'm sorry.
You skipped a couple. Got one
Mr.
of them.
Jezierski,
Aye.
are there any other candidates, right or left, that I failed to acknowledge? With that, we are going to conclude the formal part of this morning's program.